folks, welcome back to Around the Yard. Got the 17 VS out today. You just watched me kind of bring some more totes over. So we're at 4 totes. One was, I guess, just started, but basically we've used the VS on a little over a cord now, and I've got all the trimmings going into this IBC tote here off to the left. So everything that I can sweep off the table is going into my IBC tote bladder here. Just to show you guys how much scrap we're getting. So I'm going to finish, while we're splitting here today, I'm going to finish what we have here. We got 2, 4, 6 1/4 rounds of maple left, so that'll go here. And then I've got another, 3, 4 rounds of ash, probably fill off the bottom of this. And then we're going to take a look at what's in this tote. It's the same tote that we used on the box wedge. It was the one that I slid underneath the table to catch all the scraps and debris. I think you guys are going to be surprised. I really do. This produces less scrap than the box wedge, but again, depending on what you're doing, case in point here, I can pull off bark. Okay? In the box wedge, a lot of this is going to hit the ground in smaller pieces, not big flat. You know, here's another piece here. This is probably off of the end of one of those books, right? So this you can split off using that vertical knife. The box wedge, this may come off. It probably would come off, honestly, but it'd come off in just like mulch. Every now and again, like on the bottom of the round, it might slide through and you'd get a piece with bark on it, but by and large, this is coming off in the box wedge. My guess is it comes off with the 4-ways, 6-ways as well. We didn't run a whole lot of that here on this channel. I really had the box wedge for the box wedge. So it's nice. This single knife, you can really break off. Jeez, that guy's speeding. With this single knife, you can really break off this bark, and this isn't really kindling anymore, so that's going in that tote there. So it's not hitting the ground in front of me and piling up around me, it's going into that tote, but that's a pretty good pile of stuff. So anyhow, we're gonna get fired up here. Probably drop you guys into a time lapse here, honestly, just to see some of the splitting here. I'll get a couple rounds up here, we'll split a couple, but we'll go into time lapse here for a minute, get this done and stacked, and then we'll kind of come back and kind of recap how much wood wound up in here, both maple and ash, and then that should be about 1.5 cords with this machine so far. like about this from the box wedge to this is I can feather that pedal and keep this wedge down low, and when I have a round that's got a varying height, you can set it down, crack it, bring it up, slide it under, bring it down, crack it, and depending on where the height of the round is, varies on how high you need to bring that point. So I like doing that. I like that versatility. I also really like the quality of wood that comes out of this. It's legit bundle wood on every single piece. Not sure I'm ready to say it yet, but if you guys are looking for really consistent pieces of wood, it's really hard to not consider the vertical splitters. They're in a class of their own for sure. For what you can output, these are hard to beat. So there's the scrap and trash that kind of came off of that last round. Maybe a couple other pieces, but it's not nothing. But it has to go someplace. So I like this bigger extra table here. The old VS and VSC had a curved table here to accept that conveyor on the VSC. Now when you get a VS, you get this more squared off corner, and it goes out and hangs over the fender that's on this side. So everything that I'm pushing off is going into the tote. It's not bouncing off the fender underneath. I think previous models would have been cut back a couple inches, so if you'd have had heavy stuff fall off, it was bouncing on the fender. Not the case anymore. So another example of constant improvement from Wolfe Ridge. So also this anti-slip or anti-kick-out plate, this is pretty helpful too. If you guys run a vertical, you don't have one of these, I'd consider ordering one. Like I said, I don't think it's too expensive, 80-90 bucks, something like that, $100 bill. Your local dealer probably will get them in stock. It's not something that you absolutely need, but I found it to be quite helpful over the last quarter and a half, and I'll probably continue to run it unless for some reason I really need that quarter of an inch to get one round through here, but I just don't see that as a possibility. I cut just about everything at 16 inches. I could see ordering this with a 24-inch stroke at some point, just for that boiler wood, or that you're kind of in a hurry to get stuff done and you're going to make a fireplace face cord. Then I can see having this 24-inch stroke because you're just kind of eyeballing it when you're cutting the logs. But otherwise, and we haven't done this yet, is we can run the stroke limiter too. So I don't know, all kinds of different things. We'll get to it though. We got a while with this machine, so I'm looking forward to using it. Like I keep saying, yeah, I don't know. Let's split some more here. I'll put you guys in a time lapse. All right, we got one round of maple left. I just ran the machine completely out of gas. Kind of forgot about that. That's the one. If there's a downside from the SHO platform to the VS or anything else really anything else that's running a motor and a fuel tank all in one, is your runtime is going to be lower. I did enjoy that about the 17 VSC. It had a custom aluminum, I think it was a 5 or 6 gallon aluminum tank that sat right down in here underneath the left side of the table. It gave you 4, 5, 6 hours of runtime easy. I never ran it out of fuel. I just run it for a couple hours and then gas it up when I thought about it. But I could come out and do another splitting session for a half hour, hour, whatever it was going to be. With the 390 engine, it's got about a gallon and a half or so, maybe a gallon fuel tank on it. You get a pretty good amount of runtime, but you gotta have a gas can nearby. So I'm gonna go grab that, get this thing fueled up, and then we'll keep splitting this maple. We got one round to go. I'm probably gonna wind up with about half a face cord. I've got about a foot down in this lower tote here behind me, maybe a rung and a half or so. Might actually do that. I might restack just up so you guys can see exactly how much wood we got. A little easier to tell if it's all in one stack, but I've got two 275 gallon totes, so it's still a little light to that face cord anyway. But yeah, anyhow, let me go grab some gas. We'll fuel this thing up and keep going. All right, so this has got a built-in filter in the top of the fuel tank, just to get the heavies out of it, which I think is a really good idea. Given it's on a log splitter, and if you're still running it and maybe gassing it up or something's blowing around, not a dumb idea. Got a little seafoam here. I like to give everything just a splash. All these small engines, in my experience, just keeps them running right. I also run non-oxy, so the 91 octane, the small engine fuel. You guys can get it by you. Highly recommend that as well. Just makes it easier. And the other thing I do is I use these no spill gas tanks with the button on them. If you're gonna follow the compliance stuff, these are the best I've found. Everything else you have to add a vent to the back to make it work right. These do a pretty good job. The only thing they also have one of those heavy filters when you get them that's down inside. That makes filling them up at the gas station a nightmare, but a needle nose pliers gets rid of those in a hurry. And then I think they also work a little bit better, but yeah, it lets the fuel breathe in and out. Oops. And the other thing I like about it is it's got a spout, like a regular a spout like a gas pump. So once the fuel gets to it, if you're not paying attention, you can't overfill it. It'll stop once the siphon breaks. So that's kind of handy too. I like that. There we go. Didn't plug in the oil cooler. I suppose we could try that. So this 17 VS also came with the optional oil cooler. So that's just 2 plug-ins here, or 1 plug-in rather. And thermostat says we're not warm enough to even run it. Looks like about, I don't know, maybe 90 degrees, 100 degrees, give or take, a little less than 100, I think. So I think the thermostat kicks on at about 100. So when they get fired back up again here, it'll probably turn on, but you guys will be able to hear that. My seafoam there. So this machine is still carbureted, so if I turn the key to on, nothing happens. It's not priming the fuel in. You just have to turn the key to start, and then make sure it's on low throttle. So we'll see how this goes. good splitting session there. This is all the trash that I got off of that one round. So a few pieces there, not too bad. Sawdust in my shoe. So off of that one round here, let's count them up. Let's see here. How about this? 1, 2, 4, 7, 16, 19, 4, 31, 35, 39, 43, 45, 46. If you guys were counting along with me, 46 pieces of wood, all 2x4, 2x3, perfect bundle size. A little small for fireplace wood in my opinion, but I'm hoping that this is going to be some really nice maple bundle firewood. If not, this might go to the cabin. We'll see. It'd be nice to have some nice maple up there to burn. Yeah, it's a little dirty here, but all right guys, I think that's going to do it for today. We'll get to that ash another time, but I think we got about half a face cord, maybe a little light to half a face cord, but I don't know, we've been splitting and goofing around here for probably an hour. I really like this machine. It's really quite efficient. I like that I can direct where the mess goes. So I'm still standing here. I'm in kind of a mulch covered ground, but it's because I put the mulch here. There's a few scraps and pieces, but the foot pedal's easy to operate when you're on level ground. I like having these 2 or 3 totes around me too. I like having the debris tote over here. I like having maybe a maple or oak tote or something like that. Depends on what we're going to be splitting. Right now I got kind of a mixed bag of stuff. I've got ash and maple kind of mixed in, so it's kind of every other round we're doing something different. So, but I can definitely see having 2 or 3 totes up here behind this thing at all times. If nothing else, for really good bundle wood and then fireplace wood. So the little bit of uglier stuff, if it didn't split right or it's not quite the right size, it can go in a whole different tote for a whole different purpose. And it's not bundled, it's not all together. With the box wedge, you really didn't have that time to sort because it was coming pretty quickly. And for the most part, you're getting pretty decent sized pieces. So you're getting those 3.5 by 2s and 2 by 4s and whatnot. So you got a good mix that way, but I really like how precise this is. The other thing, and we can go into depth in a future video, is the price point on this VS. It's not the cheapest thing in the lineup that Wolfe Ridge offers, but it's not the most expensive. So if you guys want to produce a lot of firewood and you're not quite sure how you want to do it, if your budget is a little bit beyond, say, a resplit model or a pro model, I'd take a hard look at a vertical splitter. I really like the working height. We do need to get a tape measure out and do a couple of those things, but I gotta believe this is close to like a 3-foot working height. It's right here. You can put a really big round up here and still work it around, get it underneath the wedge. It's handy that way, guys. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of other things that you guys might want to know. Leave me comments down below. What am I missing? What am I leaving out? And we'll keep hitting it hard on this machine. We got more than enough wood back here to keep us going all summer long. So trying to take advantage of these cool June days here. It's, like I said, it's about 5 o'clock here Sunday evening, and it's gorgeous. It's like 65 degrees and no humidity. Those days are numbered. So I'm gonna keep getting after it and maybe go in for some supper, but we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day around the yard, and we'll catch you on the next one.